take this away from you anyway and carry on as if you weren't. Yeah, this has had some interesting picks here and there. Like Scream obviously coming in with a KO is something I'm incredibly excited for. Personally, I've been having a little look through this certain guy, I think his name's Jonas, videos recently, and he was talking about this map in particular, saying that the reason people don't play Sovas is because there's a lot of positions that you can't really clear with a lot of the darts. Well, you know who can clear a lot of those angles, Mitch? There's this certain agent called KO who can just scam people through walls. So that B site becomes a little bit tougher to hide in. And I'm excited to see how Liquid are actually going to be utilizing that, especially on the attack side.
So I'm going to roll the dice here, take a guess that this isn't live right now. Couple things giving that away.
Ooh.
First is nobody moving. So I think they just need to do a little bit of a refresh. Shouldn't take too long. I know. I have deduction skills, Tom. But you know what? I look at this composition. I think defensive side for Liquid, one of the scariest things is actually outside of that A site. You can throw that knife at an angle that pretty much nobody can clear it. And I'm going to look towards the Vitality side to really counter those early knives if they're used up by Scream. I think it's kind of a lazy way to use those knives. And from what I've seen of Scream, at least on Bind, he wasn't going the lazy route. He had a lineup that went from outside, from basically attacker spawn into hookah that bought him, 15 seconds from when he threw the knife to when it landed, making late round impact. So that alone tells me that he's going to have something spicy prepared for us on split.
Yeah, I think as well, there was a stat that I wanted to bring up that actually, it really interests me, and it goes over to that Vitality side. So Vac is someone that we have mentioned plays a lot of agents. In the last 60 days, you got Sova, Jet, Breach, Raze, Sky, and Sage. A decent amount. Now, some of them he's played less maps than others, yada yada, get whatever you like. But one of the ones he's been playing quite a lot is Breach. And interestingly, in terms of his own statistics, so ADR, for example, ACS, his highest kills or his highest damage is done on Breach. So out of all of the agents he's played, including that Jet, including that Raze, this is the one that it seems that he's actually performing the best, which I'll be honest, bit of a surprise to me, but I think this map is a big part of it. We've seen him perform incredibly well on an individual level, and I think it just almost seems to suit him better as a player, which, as said, going back to the Nolpenki days where he was probably the flashiest Jet we might have even had in the entirety of Europe, to see him now performing this well on that agent, it's getting me excited for this matchup.
Most definitely. Now, we have to mention the previous map and what went down there. Liquid were in a position that is not enviable, losing the majority of the early rounds, finding themselves at 4-5-1 deficits before they even really got to have rifles out. And I feel like moving on to this map, Vitality, although they barely edged it out on Bind, they have such a huge advantage because they don't need to win this. It's upper bracket. They have 2 maps to win on. They're feeling comfortable right now.
Yeah, especially with the last one being Breeze as well, which is another comfortable map for them. I think the main worry in this veto was always going to be Bind. So the fact that they've now ended up on their choice. Now, I do want to premise this with saying that this is a map that Liquid didn't play massively, like for a long period of time. In fact, they as well as Fnatic sort of let that one slip through the wayside. But they've always had pretty decent results on it. Like, sure, against V1, it was incredibly close, but they managed to see it through. We've seen them play against some other pretty decent teams here and there and still put up some reasonable numbers, like destroying Crew, again, in Masters, beating Fnatic on it, and recently beating BDS. And although I know you have your opinions on BDS, they destroy a lot of teams when it comes to split. Like, this has always been one of their comfort choices. So, although this goes in, and you still have to leave the favorites as Vitality, I'm not going to count out Liquid by any stretch.
No, you definitely don't want to be counting Liquid out. In the pistol round here, they're on the defensive side and receiving a lot of pressure over towards that A site. Now, with some right clicks going through, but nothing landing, Yampy decides to push on in and try to do some damage, losing most of his HP in the meantime. And they're going to be able to close in. It's now nade clear. I think this is quite scary, really. If you're Team Liquid, you've already been pushed out of heaven for the most part, having to play super passive, but even despite the low HP, Yampy's able to pick up one.
Yeah. A bold peek. Link stunned on the site. Now, all the utility's going to be taken away, but without him actually peeking, just sitting at the back, him and Scream are holding down the line, something that Link has been excellent at, but when he's got Scream alongside him, they look almost invincible. It's left on to Shalabi. I almost feel bad for him. He's done so much damage, headshotting multiple players, and if you look at the HP of Liquid, well, there's barely 100 HP between them if you exclude Link from the picture. Unfortunately, they don't get any kills. So for Liquid, it does end up as a flawless round.
Flawless as can be. Which is interesting considering how it started. I was certain Yampy was dead. Even got a nade chucked towards him, but they get away with it. And I think... It's one of Breach's voice lines when he kills someone. Freak. What? That's so toxic. Man, I love the voice lines in this game. They always get me. It's Jet's one when she hunts down the last player. But there you are, you little shit. That gets me every time.
Turret going to be expended. Again, fighting for orb control. Not the most surprising thing in bonus rounds, but, well, for Liquid at least, the orbs are the other team. Everyone earned just from the single kills they get. And, of course, wanting to make sure they don't lose a single player. The fact that Link has actually stuck to this crosshair, like, there was a part of me that thought that maybe it was a little bit of banter. Do you know what I do genuinely wonder? Do you think there's some sort of way that you can display a different crosshair to the one you're using? Because that would just be the ultimate flex. Like, you just run around, like, showing a crosshair that you don't use. And just, like, in reality, you're using the most normal crosshair in existence.
I don't think that's possible. For one simple reason, I know somebody would have a crosshair that just covered the entire screen. Like, left the top
You're not allowed
corners.
to see what I can do.
Yeah, only the corners of the screen are visible for, like, 5 pixels, and the rest is the crosshair. But let's
just
hope
leave
that's
the
never
kill feed
applied.
open.
Oh, he got a kill. We didn't see it, but I saw him shoot. It's a good question. Would you still see the gun model? You would, wouldn't you? Yeah, it wouldn't draw over that. That would be really weird. But hey, it's 2-0, and Team Liquid face off against a full buy. This is where Vitality get the opportunity to really deal some damage and get themselves on the board. Look at what they're up against, Tom. 4 Spectres and a Sheriff. This should be, on paper, a pretty easy round for them, but oh my! Sulcus has made it difficult in the blink of an eye. 2 players are gone from Vitality. Spike is dropped on top ramp, and there are weapons there potentially to be retrieved. Vitality have just made a big slip up.
Smoke dropped onto the head of Sender, and any sort of play through it would have massive amount of risks. Looking to try and reclaim the spike, but there's a cam watching it anyway, so information's already going to be there. Sender is caught as he tries to make the push, and now the remaining 2 players, they're kind of screwed. They need Liquid to make some sort of mistake. Now, sure, they're still going to have some advantages when it comes to at least the range positioning, but now the rotation's even coming back from Yumpy as well, and he has a rifle.
Player now down below, rushing into these players, and the Spectres are just so good at these group waterfall tactics, just spilling all over your opponents and sweeping them away. That is horrendous. we said on Bind multiple times that on the second half, Vitality had pretty much the best start physically possible. They've just had the worst start physically possible here. They've given free upgrades, 4 free upgrades to Team Liquid. They now have Vandals and Phantoms at 0 cost. They've lost their entire economy. So, yeah, but I mean, they've done nothing, right? The pistol was flawless. That previous one was pretty much like... This is pretty much as bad as it gets. And Vitality have got a mixed bag of weaponry here, a Marshal and 4 Sheriffs to try and deal some damage. Winning the round is not likely, but if they can have a similar effect to what they did on Bind with pretty much an identical buy, where of course they ended up killing 4 of the players from Team Liquid, they'll be very, very happy.
Interestingly, Cryptix is actually delaying when he's placing down his utility, which it definitely seems to have its risks about it, but well, at least can hold on to it till slightly later on in the round. For Vitality at the moment, again, they're almost just looking for players to make mistakes, and although Solcas is just wide peeking this angle, I'm not doubting him missing at this stage. Like, he had a fantastic performance in the last map, even considering the loss. And I think it has to be put into context that if you looked at that game, it already seems close. But if anything, Liquid probably should have won it based on how many of the early rounds they actually lost and the fight back that they had.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say. I'm 100% with you there. And it was a big clutch by Vitality that even made it happen in the first place. Okay, this is just a shutdown. Now, obviously, they were just versus pistols, no armor. It's about as easy as it gets. But getting away with this one flawlessly, look at the credits. Watch when they pop up. It's going to be ridiculous. Team Liquid are stacked. They've got ultimates online. They've got more than enough credits to buy like 3 times in a row. And yeah, that's not something we see every day.
The funny thing as well is that one kill came in the bonus round, or the second round, I should say, for Liquid, where they were only SMGs versus pistols. So if anything, that's the one Liquid are probably most likely to take flawlessly. So the fact that the other rounds are the ones where they've got no kills is even more worrying. But that's a much better start. Soulcast, who's been a terror thus far, is going to be caught trying to make a cheeky play down mid. Of course, with his flashes going through that smoke. It would have been a risk, but there might have been reward through it. Loki, though, is just going to hand that advantage straight back. I don't see the benefit of that play at all.
Kill my bot.
I think I'm with you there. The Vitality have managed to see some control over Heaven. Spike is behind, but they're watching it from the B push. They're holding for any aggression on A. This is going to be a very, very slow round for Vitality. Now, we've seen their defaults pay off massively, but the majority of the time that that's happened, it's been Team Liquid pushing into them, giving them the advantages. And as you can see, they are not looking to do that this time, playing much more passive on the sites. And with Soulcast down, though, Tom, they've not only lost their flashes, they've not only lost the top fragger and one of the strongest players in the world right now, but also they've lost those Seekers. The ultimate game doesn't swing in their favor quite as much anymore. And this is going to be a much more difficult defense. Good time delay by Link. That aftershock completely halts the push. And with 20 seconds left, Vitality are going to have to just run at him and hope to take him down. Link is so strong in these positions. A 3K goes his way. Scream is taken down, though. I mean, this is a plan pretty much secured. They're going to have to just stare at him. Hey, buddy. How you doing?
There we go. Scream's been hitting the gym. It takes a little bit longer to take him out of the rounds now. You really do have to kick him while he's down. Still, this ends up as a 2v2 scenario. Xilv gonna take this close range angle. Teammate trying to spot into Heaven. And Yumpy has been seen, but knowing that both players are in the site, he's actually going to be able to get very close up. Both double peeking. Xilv's gone. It's left all onto Brams to try and turn the tide. One player incredibly low. The clock burning down, but Yumpy hits the final headshot. It's going to be another round on the board for Liquid. Even with the fightbacks, it's still not enough for Vitality to get there first.
That's a kick in the teeth.
And some BM as well. Rub the salt in the wounds, Yumpy. Rub the salt in. 3 HP clutch.
Hey, let them know. Let them know what happened. Well, 5-0. Not a pretty scoreline for Vitality, and especially considering how this one was going. I did like Scream's usage of the ulti here, stopping anybody pushing down the alley. Like a really important piece of utility in him throwing the fragment at the alleyway, which just means that Link doesn't need to divert his attention from that main push because he knows nobody can get down beside him. The ultimate pop stops them from flashing, fault lining, ulting if they had them, which they didn't in that case. But moving into this round, I think that'll be more important. It's really, really solid stuff. Yampy's aggression is going to be taken down by the drone. Now, one thing, the difficulty with playing against someone like Yampy when he's running the operator, on this map, you don't have a Sova most of the time. And one of the easiest and most common counters for that operator is to have the drone go through. So I like the little bit of an adaptation in putting the turret there, which catches the op aggression and sort of buys you that little bit of extra map control at a very low cost.
Could be so much information. Scream. I'm sure the knife is going to be going through in just a second. It's going to catch so many different players, but they're still just looking to try and run through the smoke. Scream trying to watch onto the angle, and he will eventually find the first kill. The stun coming out as well is so perfect. Nothing for Xilv to do, and Yumpy just still trying to play around the edge of the smoke, but he is being pressured. Still takes one with him, though. However, Brams has made this one more than possible. The Seeker gives him away, not that the information wasn't already had. And he's trying to fake things up, and the smoke faded. Oh, Cryptix is just looking at him like, yeah, nice TP, bud. Nice TP.
I thought that the smoke in the first place that he threw was ambitious, but the fake shadow step? That man completely miscalculated how much time was left on that, which is funny because he was standing in it when it popped.
One enemy remaining.
Yeah, don't show the whole thing, please. Please, turn it off now. No. Oh, don't do him like this.
Cut away. Everybody
Don't
turn
do
off
him
your
like
monitor.
this.
This didn't happen.
No! Oh, I gotta watch it back a second time, just in case we didn't catch it the first.
Oh, we've got
timeout.
attack. Should we watch it again?
Yeah, let's see it in slow motion from Bram's perspective. Yeah, 6-0. Liquid are definitely improving on what Vitality had for them in the previous map in terms of early round score lines. And it really is, I don't know if we can, I don't think observers can hear us, right? But if they can we pull up the scoreboard? I think at this point, Vitality have at least accrued a couple more kills than previously, Tom. But it's really, it's getting heartbreaking on this attack side because you can see them finishing on like 5 rounds and still being in a pretty good position for the next half. But the way things are going right now, it seems unlikely they push even to 4.
Yeah, no, it's definitely looking rough. Now, I will say that we see a lot of teams still put up pretty ridiculous halves over on the defensive side, but you don't really want to just have that level of wiggle and this combination of utility. It's already going to make things a little bit awkward, and it delays the push, but realistically, they are still making their way around this corner. Yumpy needs to be very careful on this peek, but with no trade potential, it's almost too easy for him. Peeks in, fades out, early advantage.
That was a weird situation from Loki and Sender inside of B main. The smoke went down and it seemed like they didn't really know what was happening. Yampi still going forward with this operator, picking up every single player he sees. This is ridiculous. The frenzy reloaded. He still gets away with a 4th. 1 player remaining, and Yampi's going for the ace, connecting it. 7-0 for Team Liquid, and they are just giving Vitality no room to breathe.
Well, it's a map 3, right? That one was Breeze. I think that's what we were heading to. Like how do you come back from that? How's he get this kill? Like, what? He reloaded and then still corrected his aim. Like, that's just arse. Like that shouldn't have happened. And then still has enough to correct his aim at the end. That was a sick round from him. Yeah, sure, it's versus pistols, but I think just the manner in which he won it, impressive to say the least.
Go get it.
And we are going to see... I thought the Blade Storm might come through a little bit earlier, but we'll get it in this round still. Loki not actually putting too much into the last, so maybe just buying up for a teammate to make sure that they have something extra for this one.
Look at the B play.
It's definitely been a rough start, but this is a ruse.
Rolling Thunder.
Like yeah, but that's the thing. Is it a fake though? They're going to fake Rolling Thunder and send in Loki? Like that seems like an awful lot of commitment just to try and bait them in on a rotation. That's a lot bigger.
Team Liquid are literally playing to counter this Rolling Thunder. They're back off site. They're allowing them to take all the space they want.
Anywhere.
And they've got the cam, the tripwire. This is just perfect. Team Liquid know exactly what's going on here. I don't know if this is advanced preparation, but it looks like Sliggy's got the little... but it doesn't matter. He still got killed. The ult would have done the same thing, right?
Give me those back.
I mean, playing anti-Rolling Thunder on site and then letting him run into heaven is you know, questionable. Slightly. I think the early round setup from Team Liquid here was perfect. They had the read. They did absolutely everything right, but Vitality have just found the opening with Loki getting behind. Yeah. This is going to be a free site plant.
No way.
I'm so glad they were baiting him. They were baiting. They were going to 180 the second he completed that, so I'm glad Yumpy didn't commit to it.
I don't know. Somehow I still believe he would have got a kill, at least.
I pretty would have got all 3 with 1 bullet.
Somehow this has gone wrong. As you said, like, the read was very good. It's just like that slight hole in the defense. 1 going down at least. Loki still causing them issues. He's been the main reason that this round has slipped away from them. And now Vac hits the timing almost perfect. No way the Yumpy gets that shot at all. No chance.
What was... That was a dash and an updraft, right? I mean, I don't know if we can get a replay of that. Did he dash into the wall and then updraft? That was weird. Unless I completely misread that. I swear I saw 2. Because I saw him, I heard him dash, and then he didn't move. He just stayed completely still. That was bizarre. But 7-1 we go. The Brazil comes out, and Liquid are still going to be feeling pretty confident. That was a lapse in judgment, but they had the right read. They knew exactly what Vitality were going to do, and it's only that sneaky play by Loki who really just completely opened up the round, giving them the B site, the plant, and then everything fell into place. For Team Liquid, they're still not really there when it comes to the ultimate game, and their ulti's not being that strong in general. But Vitality have already burned up the first, and that's going to be the Killjoy ultimate. Now, nothing found off of it because it's destroyed. The players pushed out of main. Great counter utility, but look at Vitality's response. They immediately move in through heaven. They push down to the site. Now, Yampy is again going to be isolated with this operator in hand, but still a double is found. Going out wider, Scream has already taken the pushing back, and they've got a double man set up inside of B main. This is a ridiculous round. Vitality making the perfect counterplay, and Liquid counterplaying that counterplay. It's gorgeous.
Yeah, I will say it seems like a lot. There's been a few rounds now where the counterplay has involved Yumpy killing everyone, but honestly, with the way that he's performing, it doesn't matter too much. Because let's just say in a world there's a 1-for-1 trade there, his teammates are now completely surrounded in main. But instead, he gets 2 kills. The rotation comes in from Scream. Scream gets the final, and that's a perfect hold. But it really is relying on their superstars performing to such a high standard, but they are. I'm liking all the counter utility. Their aggression into B main has been almost perfect. Like, they've taken so much control there in almost every single round, be it with paranoias, with fault lines, this time with the aftershock. Like, they are just running them into the ground with utility. And Vitality's, well, the only round they've won is basically off Loki getting some cheeky kills, sneaking through. Scream, though. You don't want to give this man the opportunity. Somehow comes out with 3, even while turning the flash. And while Vac will at least be like, hey, guys, I got a rifle. Guys.
One enemy remaining.
And then you ran into Yampy. that's how that one goes. The turret up, Yampy's not even gonna bother. He just waits, wall bangs him through the turret.
Him through it.
Beautiful.
Oh,
9-1. Jeez. Well, I mean, we said this was a difficult map to call. You could see it being a 50-50. You could see Vitality coming out with some decent plays, especially Shalakby on the Rays, but I don't know, man. Some people really hate Omen. I think I've heard Dream, I've heard George from Upcomer say that Omen's just a trash agent, worst agent in the game. Now, credit to Dream, I think he did say on Split he's very good, but on every other map he's trash. And you know, I don't know that I want to say it's the Omen, Tom. I don't want to say that it's anything to do with the Omen. I think Yampy might just be one of the top 10 players in the world easily. At this stage.
Twice. This is the second time that they've managed to wrap through heaven and get behind the player trying to hold outside B. I'm not quite sure how that's worked twice, because it's normally one of the positions that if you have given it up, you're very aware of it. But hey, Vitality finally pushing down on what is looking like a vulnerability for Liquid, and now in this retake, it's not looking too good. I'm not quite sure how they're going to be able to get back into this one. They've got no ultimates to play with, a very small amount of utility other than Yumpy, who I'm going to be honest, I don't really want to see him put away the operator to try and pull out any of that utility. So unless, again, there's going to be some wide swings, I don't think there's anything there. And Loki, again, he's going to be the knife in their back.
Yeah, his flanks have been fantastic. Whether it's that playthrough spawn on the B side or right there lurking through mid to grab them. The second round on the board, and I think both can be attributed heavily to Loki's impact on the round. And for Team Liquid, I'm seeing a lot of players towards that A site in the early stages of the buy phase, but it looks like they're shifting back over. It's still only going to be a 2-man B setup, and it looks like they expect Vitality in the final round to make it towards the A site. In fact, you'll even see this knife come through and pretty much confirm the information. Dude, where he's going to throw that is breakable though, right? It gets slightly deeper than some of the other knives that we've seen. Oh, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. What a good flash. Yampy just single-handedly entering on the defensive side. 3 players down. Vitality have to clutch this one back. And with Brahms on 30 HP after Yampy's push, well, Tom, I'm not feeling too confident about Vitality's chances of hitting 3 in this half.
Some would say they're screwed, and I would be part of the sum. because it doesn't look like there's going to be any way back into. They finally decided not to push B main, almost like let's avoid Yumpy for once. And the man had the sixth sense to be on the other side of the map. I think for maybe the first time in this entire half. Like I don't think he's done that once. So I don't know how they made the read. I don't know why they made the read, but it worked perfectly. And now they got 40 seconds to try and. All right, never mind. 10-2 half.
Yeah. Got 30 seconds for Sander. Spike dropped up in heaven. Two players on the A side. He'd have to kill them lightning fast, get back into heaven, pick up that spike, get to site, plant it, and then win the 1v2 post plan. That might seem unreasonable, and that's because it is. 10-2. Liquid take it across the line in what I think it's fair to say is convincing fashion, and Yampy dropped 20 kills in that first half with 4 deaths. That is absolutely ridiculous. On an Omen as well. So we can't even give him the excuse of, oh, it's just a jet, no skill agent. Look at that. He runs into 5 players and he kills 3 and leaves another on 30 HP. How does he get so much value out of every situation he's in?
Yeah, I think as well, like the utility usage there, not only the paranoia, which is of course still one of those abilities that is just so difficult to play against, but they also had the fragment in the corner so that nobody could even run back. So they had just like a nice little setup from Liquid, and that's been a lot of their defense, just having these cool, quirky little ideas to try and shut out a lot of control. We've seen it a lot when it came to their B-site defense as well, and, well, this time it was a low-key, see you later, mate. Peek through the smoke, caught out already. Shalabi, he needs something here, and he's going to go down as well. It's Whiff City for Vitality, and a pistol that's basically keeping them in the map.
Not the strongest hold I've seen on mid in a pistol round. Team Liquid flying ahead. Now, again, Sulcus doesn't have that heal. Buying up a ghost means that, well, he ain't gonna have the creds to spend. Sander, come on, that's a free kill. He's running away.
He's just wasting their time as well. They're going A. Like, him being there is literally just to be as annoying as humanly possible. Leave the low HP player behind. He's low as well. He's 22 HP. Link just swings and takes down back. Oh, God.
One down.
Hey, there we go.
Hey, we got him.
There we go.
Sulcus is also 20, Cryptic's 38. This is definitely winnable for Vitality, but it's tough. There's players absolutely everywhere. They're fighting into 2 or 3 on every angle they push. Look at the crossfire down below. Cryptic's ready to swing with Yampy and take that kill. It's 11-2, and honestly, that pistol round was probably the last beacon of hope for Vitality. Losing that almost confirms this is a Team Liquid win. In fact, I think it's quite likely they go for a force buy coming into this round just to try to make that comeback happen. Because conceding for OT and winning 10 in a row would be a risk, a difficult task. I mean, look, best of a bad bunch, really. There's no right choice. There's no easy choice.
Yeah, there's nothing like at this stage. There's no, unless they can rewind time. There's really not much that Vitality are going to be able to do here in terms of their purchase. So they're gonna take the risk. As said, at this point, it's really not that much of a risk. And this is patient play from Cryptics. He's just trying to bait them into a push. He's actually got the spike alongside him as well. So if he was to fall, it would be a bit of a... Oh, no! Oh, that was the split second that you don't want to be shooting the trip. Oh. Roll on, Breeze. Just roll it on. Like, this has just become
like
torture.
Breeze a lot. I like Breeze a lot. I think Vitality have a much better shot there based on what we're seeing, because this is not the team we just witnessed on the previous map. I mean, the fact that they went 4 rounds without a single kill, Tom, pretty much sums it up. Ooh, Sulcus getting tickled, and he's the only player that can't be healed up, now vulnerable to these stingers. No one's using the Lothar trick. You know, the right-click triple burst. Oh, come on, Yampy. Leave him alone, for God's sake. I mean, if they get this round, if Vitality have force bought and it's flawless from Team Liquid, that is... Oh, God.
Player standing.
I feel like I'm talking over a funeral. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, especially after the last map. Like, it was a close victory, back and forth rounds, Liquid fighting uphill to try and bring it back. Well,
they force bought.
Yeah, Vitality are definitely going to have to fight uphill, but I don't know. This is like trying to climb Everest without the use of your hands. Like, it's like you're just going to use your teeth on some of the rocks. Like, I don't know how this would ever be possible as a comeback. And the worst thing is as well, because they invested into that round, this buy is going to suck just as much as the last one. So, yeah. Good luck. I wish you the best, but I am not feeling too confident.
Cover going out.
Not confident at all.
The reality is Team Liquid's gameplay has just been on point so far, and it feels like every single attempt that Vitality have made, like the fact in the early rounds, I can give Liquid a lot of the rounds that they won, but sometimes there were just these clutches that it felt like Vitality were lost in. Losing out to like 2v4s and such. Okay, nice little paranoia by Brams. Nade through, stops the push. Liquid are now going to have to fight back in. There's also a flank play. Loki has been very solid when it comes to those attack side lurks, and now he's pushed all the way down middle, hiding for these guys to come back through sewers, meaning that they can pretty much commit towards a heavier A stack, like 3 or 4 players, for the entirety of this round, and Liquid will still be running into it by the looks of things.
They've almost tried to bait them back, but because of Loki's position, no one's actually rotated off. They know they haven't come through mid. Vac is already going to pick off the first, and Brams' corner is deadly as ever. It's not going to be checked, and the swing out grants him a couple of kills. Shalabi is there to close it as well, and Vitality have their lifeline. A solid round for them at least, maybe a little bit of wind back in the sails, and I'll be honest, Mitch, I don't believe that they'll be able to bring this map back at all, but if they can at least get a few extra rounds, make it a little bit less of a dominant performance, and maybe build up at least a little bit of confidence going into the final map.
Down A.
Exactly. That's something we speak about a lot, and it really is important. Getting those fist bumps in, winning a round, just bringing the morale right back up. And for Vitality, look, that was a solid round. The push down middle, get the information, they react perfectly to it, keep the 4-man stack on A, completely destroy the push on through. Now Team Liquid pull out the rifles yet again, and Vitality aren't really in the same boat. They've got a Vandal, a Guardian, and everything else is going to be Spectres and Marshals. That's a pretty tough situation to continue fighting just for an overtime. But they're going to try. They're going to try their damnedest. I like the setup on A, actually. They're going to have faster rotations through the mid play. Maybe they suspect Liquid to be more mid-centered after the pistol round, after what they've seen in the past. And they'd be right on that.
This is still a much better purchase coming up for Liquid. Loki left with just a Marshal in hand. He's done some damage with it in the past, but they are ready for any sort of aggression to come through. In fact, I'm wondering if are we gonna get a pot flash? There it is. Just trying to force him backwards. Even the stun afterwards, so he can't run away. Scream, looking to try and push around the corner. Might not expect him to still be so close, but it doesn't matter. He wins the duel anyway. The clearance from Solcast even bypasses the aftershock, and leaving just 2 men standing to try and save Vitality from what has been an embarrassing map.
The 2 versus 3, low HP on 2. It's doable. That's for damn sure. Plenty of utility. We've seen what Yampy can do from this very same angle in the past. The smoke there, so if they dive off, he'll see them down below. The spam is not actually landing anything. Yampy's good, just tucked in the corner. Oh no. As they push out, look at that. Oh, you saw him. There we go. 13-3. That was not a nice map for Vitality. After a very close bind, they have been slapped out of the series, or out of the map, rather, here on Split.
Yeah,
not of the series. Not of the series, because there's one more. There's one more left to go. Of course, Breeze is going to be up next, Tom, and I think it's fair to say it can't go much worse.
Oh dear. Why have you said that? Like, why have you said that? Like, it's almost like you're trying to will it into existence, but you are correct. Like, it couldn't have got much worse than that. Not even, I think 1 kill in the first 4 rounds of the game was almost the stepping stone for what ended up being such a dominant half. Liquid looked incredible, though. As said, this is a map that I never really saw them pick into it that much. It was one that they were willing to play. I'm hoping they do from now on. I think teams are going to have to start banning it against them. You can see the interplay between a lot of different players, some cool little ability combos that they've got to set themselves up, and Yumpy looked on point, which He's had good games, but I think so far, at least in this stage of VCT, that's probably the best performance I've seen from him.
Yeah, that's fair to say. You know, 1 kill within the first 4 rounds was definitely a bad omen for Vitality, but Yampy was anything but a bad omen. That's for damn sure.
Worse omen.
When it comes down to the next map, though, I'm gonna hope there's gonna be a bounce back. One thing I'll say about Liquid is that in this series, in this map in particular, the level of preparation was so apparent.
Yeah.
Although they ended up still losing one of the key rounds that I would highlight as being one of their better ones for the prep, they were ready for that fake B play. They maintained. So going back to the round, it was the Rolling Thunder coming out of the breach onto the B site. They played for that. So they played back inside of the spawn so they wouldn't be hit by the Rolling Thunder. They committed to a 3-man A stack, conscious that they might use that as a fake, which they did. The only hole in that was that they let Loki lurk up. They did not account for that level of aggression and him coming back behind them in spawn, catching a player off, and then completely changing the outlook of the round for Vitality, who then rotated to B and took an easy plant. I still felt like that pretty much sums up Liquid and how good they are at counterplaying. Vitality thought well on their feet in that. Loki sensed and took a lot of space. But ultimately, when you're sitting down and you're looking at what this team likes to do, having the ability to know when they have this ultimate, they like to do this. They're likely to fake out, to roll this B site. It puts you in a position to win a lot more and to push your opponents out of their comfort zone, which I think is one of the most important things, Tom. But it looks like we're just about ready to throw things over to a break. The AD finished snacking up on their lunches, but they need a couple minutes to drink down some water, get the vocal cords ready. So we're going to go to a little break now, and it's going to feature something special because we've got the song of the week for you. It's by Kashmir. Take a look at this one.